Hi guys. Anybody else really depressed by the news that we've got to go back to working from home? What does it even mean? Just don't know. Hello, lovely. Hi guys. Oh my God, has anybody else just been watching this news about how we're going to have to be working from home as of Monday? It's like crackers. I don't know how I feel about it. Sort of feel like we're going backwards, but then I guess we've just got to do what we've got to do. I quite like working from home. Anyway, so today I'm very excited because I'm going to be talking to Dani, who I haven't actually ever spoken to before. She's a fellow breast cancer survivor. And she's really interesting on the whole menopause side of things. I know you're here, Dani. I'm just going to chat about you quickly while you're not here. So she's really sort of into yoga, healthy eating, that sort of stuff. Sorry, Michelle Penny, great news briefing by Titty Gritty. I know, it is a great news briefing. I've just been watching. Has anybody else seen that we all have to start working from home? So it's as of Monday, right? And is it just England? Not that I live in Scotland, but like, anyway. Anna, were you snappy when you were going through the menopause? Yeah. No, it wasn't snappy. I was totally snappy. Right, I'm going to let lovely Dani in. She always looks so like refreshed and happy and cool and calm as a cucumber. So I'm hoping that she's like a hot, sweaty, bitchy mess like I am with the menopause as well, and then it's not just me. Hang on, let me just find your request. There we go. Let's see if she's here.
Hello.
Oh, how are you? I knew that you would be all beautiful and colourful and lovely.
Do you know what? I was really looking forward to chatting to you today. I've been scooped up at home with COVID, feeling quite sorry for myself. And so you're the first person, apart from my dog and the kids, I've spoken to today, which is lovely.
Oh, have you got COVID or the family?
Yeah, no, we've all had it now. So excuse my cough. I'm going to be spluttering all over you.
Oh
and then
my God.
Thought, with those news today, yes, tell me.
So is it on? Have you got the Omicron?
I wasn't told, so I don't think I have, because I wasn't told.
No.
So excuse my coughing, but I was looking forward to talking to you today, and then I thought, whenever I look at your feed, I feel happy, it's fun, it's just a highlight in my day. And I thought, now I'm coming on here, going to talk about breast cancer and menopause. Such a party pooper. I'm sorry about that. But I've got my titty necklace on for you. Can you see? There you go.
Oh, very cool.
Dressed up for you.
Oh, bless you. So when was your diagnosis?
I was going to ask you the same. I was really looking forward to having that chat. So mine goes all the way back to 2013, when I was diagnosed with a triple negative breast cancer. So I was 33. I had 3 kids. Rosa was 4. The twins were 2 when I found my lump. And it didn't really look like a cancer immediately. It sort of looked like a fibroadenoma. Anyway, I went for it, and it was a triple negative breast cancer. And then I was sort of taking on a quite quick roller coaster of a journey. I felt like I was being on a conveyor belt, and everything was happening to me for quite a long time.
Did you have family history of it? Like, were you like breast aware at the time, or not really?
Well, I'm quite slight, and my lump was sticking out. By the time I lifted my arm, it was sticking out. So I don't know how I showered, and I hadn't noticed. It is always in the back of my head. Could I have found it earlier? You know, all of those questions. How did I not find it earlier? How did I know it wasn't there? I was having a growth in my armpit, as you do watching the telly, and there it was.
But also, maybe it hadn't been there that long.
Maybe it hadn't been there that long. It was really highly aggressive. Grade 3. Anyway, when was your diagnosis?
2018.
2018.
And quite similar. I'm quite slight, and my lump, you could see it sticking, you know, you could see it.
Yes.
And when I was looking in the mirror, well, I felt it first, and I was like, oh, what's that? And then I looked, and I thought, oh my God, you can actually see it. What is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't have, you know, any family history, so I wasn't massively concerned about it. I just thought, you know, it must be a hormone, you know, a hormone
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
maybe. So
Yeah.
so but I was positive, triple positive,
Yes.
as opposed
You're
to
the
triple
opposite, aren't
negative.
you?
And
Yes.
that's our difference. And had yours gone to the lymph nodes or no?
So I had all of my lymph nodes out, and it hadn't actually gone into my lymph nodes, but I now struggle with a lymphedema, which is annoying. I've got a fat left
Oh
arm.
no.
I always wear long sleeves. I have loads of infections, but let's not talk about it because it's even more depressing. So I'm going to
Oh my gosh.
I pretend I don't have it most of the time.
But
Yeah.
is it painful?
It's not painful, but I've got a chronically swollen arm. So my lymphatics aren't draining off. And whenever I have a little tear anywhere, it could get infected. So I'm often on, managing with antibiotics and stuff. So it's
Right.
one of those things that isn't
And
chronic long term.
when did that come on? Or did it come on straight away
So
after
for
you had
me,
the
it came on
surgery?
quite quickly, even when I was going through chemo. So my protocol was surgeries, had then chemo and radiotherapy. And in that time, I found out that I'm a BRCA1 carrier. So it was whilst I was going through
Yeah.
treatment, it was discovered. My whole family on my dad's side, they've got ovarian cancer. But, growing up, I never thought I was at risk. So I had a great childhood. I had a great time in my 20s and 30s because I'd never had to worry about, oh,
Yeah.
could anything go wrong with me? So actually, I don't know if I would have ever changed anything. My family just didn't know. We just didn't think. It's on my dad's side that I could be affected. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
goodness. I've just noticed that Till's on here. She's got triple negative
Hi,
breast
Till.
cancer, and she says that she's got lymphedema too.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's anything to do with the fact that it's triple negative, is it?
No, it's just when they touch your lymph nodes and some lymph nodes are
Yeah.
being removed from your armpit. The
Yeah,
body
so I've
sometimes,
had all of
yeah,
mine taken out because mine had gone to the lymph nodes. But
right.
so far, touch wood, whilst I've got like numbness there, I don't have. I
Yeah,
haven't
and
got
fingers
lymphedema.
crossed. And not
Yeah,
everyone does. And
yeah,
my mother-in-law had breast cancer many moons ago, and she never had a lymphedema. So let's put that out of your head now. Forget
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
You don't want to start worrying what goes wrong with other people. That's one of the
yeah,
worst
yeah, yeah.
things. What
Hey,
happened to, yeah,
are you Italian? Can I
no,
detect a?
Austrian.
Are you Austrian? Oh
But
my
I
goodness.
don't really sound German, I don't think, do I?
No, you don't sound German.
No.
No, but I think you've definitely got like a European
Oh, yeah, yeah.
accent. I thought it was
Although
Italian.
I've lived here for longer than I've been back home in Austria. Um,
Really? Oh my
and
God.
I absolutely love it, but I don't think I'll ever shift my accent, which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no, that's what makes us all
So what happened
interesting,
with
right?
you after? So you've had your surgery, you had chemo. I remember seeing pictures.
Yeah. So I had my mastectomy, then I had chemo, radio, and because I was positive and HER2 positive, I had 18 rounds of Herceptin as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
And I guess it's quite fortunate sometimes to have a positive diagnosis because there seems to be more drugs that you can throw at it.
Yeah.
So
Can I
I'm
just,
very
I'm
grateful.
going to interrupt you there. For anyone sending messages about lymphodemas and stuff, those messages usually go after you save the video. If you want me to maybe reply to you, can you please also put them under the video when Helen saves it? I know it's a bit annoying, but they go and come so quickly, don't
Oh
they?
yeah, they do, because
And I
Tills is
can't really
asking.
see. So if anyone wants to
Yeah,
chat about it, we'll have a chance if you repeat your question maybe after Helen saved it.
Sarah and Tills are talking about it. Because also I feel like it's something that's not really spoken about that much. It's a bit like the menopause.
Yeah.
Those sort of side effects don't get spoken about that much. But one thing that really interested me about you is you just seem to be, I don't know, not breezing through the menopause, but I feel like you've really kind of embraced it in a way. And am I right in thinking that you are healthy eating and like taking it quite seriously, like in that you're investing a lot in yourself to try and ride the wave as best as possible?
Okay, so I think there is a huge combination of things, and if you let me, we'll be here till tomorrow. No, I'm joking. But there's a real combination of things going on. Initially, when I was diagnosed with a triple negative breast cancer, I thought it was a really bad diagnosis because in terms of, like you just mentioned, in terms of treatment options, we haven't got that much to follow up with. We've got surgery and chemo, and then our options are more limited. And the recurrence rate, therefore, is very high, especially in the first 2-3 years after a diagnosis. I got through that time. I had a double mastectomy because of my BRCA1 mutation a few years later, and then I had my ovarian tubes out, and then a little bit later I decided to have my ovaries out. So it's almost like you going on tamoxifen maybe to stop or prevent or reduce your risks of a cancer recurrence. Am I right in saying so, that you're on tamoxifen? Yeah. You're reducing your risks of a recurrence of your cancer. I couldn't do that with a triple negative because there was no hormone treatment, because mine wasn't relating to hormones. But once I found out I'm a BRCA1 carrier, that gave me more risks of new cancers, because what the BRCA1 gene likes to do is not really make your breast cancer you've had recur, but give you new ones, 2 or 3 new ones, and ovarian cancer. It's a real bitch, right?
It's a generous cancer. It's a generous gene.
Because of my family history, and I lost 2 very dear aunts of mine before they even turned 50 to ovarian cancer, and my grandmother. It was a no-brainer for me to have my ovaries out before I turned 40.
And you'd thankfully had your children already, hadn't you?
Right, so it was a different conversation to be had. I had my kids, I've had breast cancer already. For me, it wasn't really it was a big decision, because I knew I was going to become in surgical menopause, but it wasn't, I wasn't aching for more children. And so I understand how, when we talk about that, I also want to say there is really no right or wrong, because I know people that have got exactly a similar diagnosis like me, but haven't gone for the risk reducing surgery. And it's not wrong, it's just their way.
I totally get that.
Yeah, and I think what happened with me, by then I was really invested in my health. Like I had taken my eating, my yoga, my meditation, my self-care to a level of extreme that perhaps now I think, gosh, I was only trying to hold on so desperately to anything I could do to control and to reduce my risks of a recurrence, because I kept thinking I'm denied of something like tamoxifen, and what can I do? And so I,
totally
from one day to the next, I cut out alcohol, wheat, gluten, anything, name it, sugar. I became obsessed. Until I found my balance. But I'm talking, this isn't weeks or months, this is a process of years. But so I really invested in all of that. And so by the time my ovaries came out, I knew exactly by how much I was going to reduce my risks. I suppose you do the same. You go on tamoxifen and you know by how much, I guess, this is helping you, right? We know. We sort of try and work out, or many women don't know, they just do because this is what's happening. But in my case, I really knew by how much I could reduce my risks. And because of my history with triple negative, I've chosen to go on hormone replacement therapy.
Right, that was what I was going to ask. Are you able to have HRT? I guess you are, aren't you? If your cancer wasn't hormone related, what you should be able to have HRT. So that's a bit of a silver lining in a way, isn't it?
Right. So I mean, you could have a multiple of answers from me now. I've recently opened a new Facebook group for women for people in menopause after cancer, because I've got a big Facebook group for menopause, but I never felt I was doing our tribe justice. It was there's always too much chat about options which aren't always appropriate, or we don't think are appropriate. But now,
were you always? Did you always have that? Did you always work in menopause, like before you had cancer?
No. Before I had cancer, I was a jewelry designer. I had nothing to do with all of that. Yeah, I had nothing to do with anything. Nothing. My life totally changed. I started to teach yoga. I've immersed myself in food. I've run workshops and well-being workshops and stuff like that. So my life's, totally changed. But, there is different answers. In essence, you could say it's every person's choice to go on HRT, even with a history of breast cancer, because we choose,
Yeah.
like we are making, it's us that we need to make those decisions. We just need the information. And I don't think the majority of us have the right information. And we don't have the stats, and we don't have enough communications with the right people to help us make good decisions. I feel like I was helped by a great team at UCLH in London to make good decisions. And Helen, there are some days I'm waking up, I'm absolutely shitting myself, wondering if I am making the right decision.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we have not even 5-year studies of women like me who are triple negative with a breast cancer diagnosis. Of course, I've had a mastectomy, so I'm reducing my risks. You know, all I'm thinking is, but because of my triple negative, like you say, did I see it as a silver lining? Yes, of course I did.
Yeah.
Because it meant I didn't drop into that surgical menopause that can be so horrendous for so many women.
Yeah. So how quickly did you go on to HRT? Was it sort of straight away, straight after the surgery?
And so this is, for example, to explain to you what is happening. So I've had the conversation with a guy at UCLH who is in the reproductive health unit. And so they're not called menopause specialists, but reproductive health, and they've helped me manage or explain to me what would happen once I removed my ovaries.
Yeah.
And he was giving me, you know, statistics and options and saying, because of triple negative, because you've had a double mastectomy, you could really qualify of considering the HRT. Home, I from the surgery, and he said to me, well, maybe don't tell everyone on the ward, because all the doctors would get really confused, because in general we don't give HRT to women after cancer. So it's almost a bit of a me just, but you know what I mean, because this is the general chat, or what is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I feel like, I agree with that. I feel like too many of those chats are too general, and that they are not tailored to the patient that's sat in front of them.
Because also, Helen, you know, it really depends. Are you a woman who've maybe gone through breast cancer in their 30s? Now you've naturally arrived in menopause, you're in your 50s, you're having an awful time. Your decision-making process of what you're going to do, whether you'd even consider HRT, it's going to be very different. So if you're if you're a young woman who's just going through it, because in the first years after a diagnosis, doesn't everyone just want to try and survive? You're not going to really, no one is really thinking, how can I just improve the quality of my life?
It's so true. But what side effects did you come across with the menopause?
So until my HRT was working for me the way I think it should have been working, because it takes time, I had weird things like really itchy skin. I would scratch until I'm bleeding almost. I had an extremely burning tongue, and then more mental, like really, like as if you've scalded your tongue, like really odd ones. Stinging when
I've never ever heard of that.
Have you not? Yeah, burning mouth, burning tongue. It feels like you've scalded your. It's weird, isn't it?
And that's menopause related.
Yeah, it's a very common and well-known symptom.
Oh my gosh.
And then more mental, like, and that was a gradual process. And this is why I think we need to keep communicating, and always say when we communicate, you need to get to know yourself again, especially after a diagnosis with cancer, because some of the changes were very subtle for me. So, for example, my loss in confidence, my loss in self-worth, almost the fact that I thought I wasn't good enough, had nothing to say, I was the party pooper, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't dancing on tables throwing back the vodka shots anymore, you know.
Yeah, totally. I think
that
so many and it's just finding yourself again, because I sort of felt like I just aged overnight, and that I was a little bit invisible in a way, like it was a funny old time. It's interesting because so my medication pushed me into the menopause.
So how long after treatment was that?
I went into it quite quickly,
Okay.
with on the chemo. But now I'm off the chemo and I'm on the tamoxifen. It's like my body is trying to fight back against it, and I'm now overproducing estrogen apparently. So I've now come back out of the menopause. So I'm sort of teetering on the edge. So I'll have like menopausal months and then not so menopausal. But because of this, they want to take my ovaries and have what you've had done. But I won't be offered HRT. And I just sometimes you've got to weigh up like quality of life over, you know, what quality of life over the risks of you know.
I know.
I'm
I know
really
exactly.
torn on it.
I know exactly what you mean. There's recently been a few posts by Dr. Louise Newson. I don't know if you've seen, and they were very much. There's a urologist talking about the experience with his wife, and I've read the fact sheet, and I thought, yeah, actually, a lot of women that I know, they go on to having chemo and radio, and then maybe tamoxifen or aromatase inhibitors, if any of you ladies are on those, or Zodalex injections. But we don't actually know exactly by what percentage that is helping us.
Yeah. And that's what we need
reduce
to
our
know.
risks of a recurrence. And
yeah.
But Helen, is it because we don't ask the question, or is it because we're not told? I don't know. Because we don't. I think blaming. Blaming is never. There's no point. It doesn't work.
No,
Could it be that we just don't ask? Because I was so scared for so long to ask certain questions because I was so scared of the answer. I didn't ask any of the questions.
No.
I just did. Were you the same?
And also, I couldn't ask the question like, am I in remission now? Has it all got? I was too scared to ask.
Oh gosh, yes.
You know, I just didn't. In a way, it was like, oh, no news is good news. Sort of thing. And also,
and so I think,
they're fixing the cancer, right? So you sort of at that point in time when you're in the eye of the storm of getting your diagnosis, it is really all about making sure I'm not going to die ultimately.
Yeah, and you would do everything, wouldn't you?
Everything.
Yeah.
So in that point, you'd be like, yes, like menopause, that's fine. Lymphedema, that's fine. Just like fix the thing.
Oh my gosh, I would have given my left arm.
Yeah.
We all would have done. Have it all.
I know. Yeah. But it's then this. I don't know if there's anybody on here actually that this is sort of ringing true with, whether, you know, they've sort of come out the other side of cancer and sort of struggling with menopause. So you were saying about the symptoms that you had. What specifically would you say what life changes have you made that you think has really helped sort of manage some of those symptoms?
You know what, I think it's one thing that is, so if people watch this back, it would be great to hear from people if they know 100% what the treatment they're on is doing for them in terms of survival, like if we know exactly what the statistics are, because I'm starting to think, I'm not sure if we all know, whether we maybe just do. And the oncologist will always do everything, for every percentage, they will give us a treatment. But like you say, what about my quality of life, right? So we've got to start weighing it up. So I think maybe we all need to remember to be a bit braver and ask all the questions so that we can make really informed choices. And once we perhaps know, like you now, you know, you're not on HRT, we almost need to go say, okay, this is not what I'm choosing to do now, not an option. What am I looking at? And there are other medical options. And when I look back at my own history, I often actually really wish I'd taken antidepressants or something for my anxiety, because I really struggled. And I wish I had help with it. And for women with menopausal symptoms, when we bark up the wrong tree as such, and we just hear normal menopause chat, they all say, you can't give antidepressants, it's the wrong treatment in menopause. But it's not the wrong treatment necessarily if you've had a cancer diagnosis.
Is it something that you would consider now or not?
I don't feel I need antidepressants or something for my anxiety now, but I would,
because they can actually help with hot flushes apparently.
Absolutely, with hot flushes, with mood, with fatigue, with sleep.
I feel like they should change the name and not call them antidepressants.
Exactly.
Because it's got such a negative connotation to it. And there's something about, oh, I'm on antidepressants. I don't know, I just think that there could be a more positive name for it.
Yeah. And because we hear a lot of negativity when we think of the menopause in the bigger sort of in the normal without cancer context, we sort of think, oh,
Yeah,
that's the wrong treatment choice. But actually, we have to rethink as ladies with a cancer diagnosis. We almost have to rethink and explore those options because they're not wrong. They
yeah,
might be actually very suitable.
yeah, totally agree.
And I don't know why I never considered it. And I kind of think I went for counseling. They've never suggested. I kind of feel a bit like peed off. I had so much anxiety for so many years. I wish,
Yeah, yeah.
oh, it was all a
I
bit for nothing now thinking
yeah.
about it.
But then the yoga must have helped.
So the yoga helps. And you know, the thing with the yoga and the movement or eating a balanced diet is it helps when you do it. It's like when you
Yeah,
go on, it's like when, I don't know, when you take any medication for high blood pressure or whatever, you'll take it regularly every day at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah.
And people can't expect for yoga to work if you turn up on your mat twice a month. Do you know what I mean?
I know
It's sort of
exactly what you
something that
mean.
you've got to just implement. And
Yeah. It's got to be part of your daily, you know, part of your routine. And
well, or at least your weekly habits you've got
yeah,
to start forming. So for example, there is one really good thing about being in this breast cancer menopause camp is a lot of studies have been done on ladies like us.
yeah.
So studies for cognitive behavior therapy, studies for acupuncture, studies for yoga
Mm.
and mindfulness, cognitive behavior therapy for insomnia, for
Where can
example.
you find that information?
Well, I have just been Googling and Googling, but there is more and more evidence. And if you
Yeah.
look at the British Menopause Society, for example, they've got a patient's arm. I would post it underneath. I can't remember it now. But they've got a
Mm.
patient's arm for the BMS, and they talk about a lot of
Oh,
those things.
right.
Yeah. And so
Because
there is
that's
more.
quite interesting. Yeah, if you can read up a little bit more, you know, about it, that's quite empowering in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. What's your main symptoms you think at the moment? What do you think is
So
troubling you?
hot flushes and a really just I'm really patient for a long time, and then I get pushed and pushed and pushed, and I'm like a pressure cooker. I don't know if anyone else is the same. And then I just
You're done.
unleash. Yeah. And I hate it. I
Mm.
hate it. But the flushes have been really bad, but I've started going back to having acupuncture,
Hmm.
and that I I don't know if it works for everybody, but for me it really does a lot for
Wow.
me.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great to hear, though, isn't
yeah,
it? That's great to
yeah,
hear.
yeah.
And have you ever
Um,
been offered medication for your hot flushes?
no, but that's not to say that I wouldn't. Like I'm not against it. I would. I sort of feel like I should have that, go to the doctor and have that conversation. Things I'm very not very good at practicing what I preach and what I, you know, like, oh yeah, I will do that. I will go to the doctor and I will go and do that. It's just getting round to doing it. But more of us should, you know,
Yes. Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
I sort of
Did
kick
I spoke
myself
to the
a
lovely
little
Philippa
bit.
Kay. I spoke to the lovely Philippa Kay once, Dr. Philippa Kay, and she said, if it bothers you, it should bother your doctor. And that always really stuck with me because I think so much bothers us, but we don't say anything. So it can't bother our
Yeah,
GP.
yeah, yeah. It
Mm,
really is so true. I just want to actually point out that how I found out about you, Dani, is
mm, mhm.
because when I started the C list, as you
Yeah,
know,
when did you start
my
that?
other last earlier this year,
Mm.
and so I launched the website C list, which is, as you know, a sort of support
It's fabulous.
network, and a there's beauty products on there as well for people going through
Love it.
treatment. And I had put out to my followers, like, could people recommend products that they use whilst going through treatment? And a number of times people said the manta brush, the manta brush. I'm like, what on earth's the manta brush? Anyway, I looked it up, and it's a wonderful hairbrush that it's your husband that created it. Is
It's
that
our
right,
fourth
Tim?
baby. I've lost him to it. It's our fourth baby.
Yeah.
So when I had lost my hair through chemo, when it grew back, mine never grew back very full, and I've still got quite very little hair on the top of my head, and it was just against all expectations. But I kept saying to Tim, I'm just going to stop brushing my hair, because I was looking at my hairbrushes and they're all matted with hair, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's just, I want my hair on my head and not in my brush. And he said, but you've got to keep stimulating your scalp. And he's been a hairdresser by then for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And he said, but that's, you've got to keep stimulating your scalp. And I said, I just want to have bristles on my fingers, so I'm a little bit more in control of what I do. And that was it. And he literally invented this first sort of flexible hairbrush that molds to the shape of your hand. And he's been working on it ever since. And so our journey has been quite interesting.
Amazing. It's annoying because I thought I had one right next to me. Trouble is, my kids keep pinching it.
Oh yeah, but
Honestly, it drives me nuts. But one thing that people were saying about it was that it didn't snag like some brushes. You know how they can really snag your hair, and it's flexible, so you can hold it in your hand and you can sort of bend it. So when you're using it, it hugs your scalp.
Yeah, and you have much more control over what you're doing. And the brush,
Tills, that's a really good point. Tills is asking, would it work with afro hair?
So it does work with afro hair. So we use it to shampoo, so you can apply your shampoo. So you need much less product. When you're under the shower, you would circulate the shampoo into your scalp. For afro hair, it's lovely. You can run the treatment down your hair. So you'd put a bit of treatment on the brush and then mold the brush in half and then run the brush down. You just wouldn't dry brush, but I don't think people with afro hair dry brush anyway.
So when you literally fold, if that's the brush, you literally fold it onto the hair like that.
Yeah, and then
I wish I had my brush in front of me.
And then you run it down.
It's a really good question.
So
Tills, I'll send you a link.
We've had loads of exciting things happening amongst all of the rubbishness of it.
Yeah.
And I feel really immersed in my work, and I'm sort of helping women making informed decisions, which is great. And it's been a really great ride, and it's been a really difficult ride. And I think those ambivalent feelings that it can be this and that, I think it's important to recognize. And I think often, so the women in my Facebook group now, what they say to me is, I didn't think I could moan about the menopause because I should be so lucky that I survived cancer until now.
Yeah. What's your Facebook group called?
So it's called Menopause and Cancer Chat Hub. I would put a little thing underneath. It's a private group. It's not a bit, I don't want it to escalate like the other group, but it's been really useful. Just to connect. Really... And that's all sorts of, everyone's on a different, and
I think the good thing with that is it becomes like a forum. So if somebody puts out a question, lots of other people can chip in and either relate to it or not, or share their advice or thoughts on it. It can be quite good, can't it? Do you find it's quite a friendly space?
Do you know what? It's amazing because I post all the time saying, can we please make this non-judgmental? Like if you decide with the information you have had, this is your path, then I want to just make sure that you feel amazing about making those choices. And maybe for someone else, it's a wake-up call and thinking, oh, I'm going to explore that. I'm going to read into that.
I think sometimes, I don't know if anybody else has found this, but sometimes Facebook can be a bit of a scary place. You can get some nutters on there. I don't know about whether you've come across it, because we've got a C-list group on there, and I've had to make it like a private thing. So that you just have to answer a few questions to be able to join the group. But I've had some people come in and just say some weird stuff. Some strange people out there.
So I have a moderator in my other group, and we do keep a close eye, and I don't want people to start selling things in the group. And it's really about sharing information. And I think sometimes people come in and they don't have to share lots, but by reading what's going on for others, sometimes it validates how you're feeling. You feel less alone. Many women who are in there, they've gone through breast cancer in COVID times. This is really really difficult stuff. And then you're finding yourself in menopause, and it can be so overwhelming. You
Yeah.
asked me earlier, but
Well,
one
listen,
of the,
it's.
yeah.
I was just going to say that Lindsay's joined. She's Dr. Menopause. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
she's
come across Lindsay.
amazing.
She's
Oh,
fab.
she's
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, she's
she's absolutely.
fabulous. Hi, Lindsay. I'm the
Hi,
biggest fan.
Lindsay.
I'm Lindsay's
Oh,
fan. She's
she's fab.
fabulous. She's
Well,
so
listen,
reflect.
I'm gonna have to go because I have to go put my kids to bed. It's
It
that
was
time of day.
lovely to
But
talk
it
to
was really
you.
good to get a sort of a flavour of what you do, and you know, I would urge anybody to follow you. You're called Healthy Whole Me, aren't
Yeah.
you? And you take a real holistic approach to your menopause, and you're so open at sharing it all. And actually, I think it was just was it even just today, the fact that you were like not having the best day, and that's all
No,
right. And
it's all
you
right.
know, and I love the fact that you just share that, and it's
There is,
not
but I
all.
really do believe there is always something you can do. And until you leave every stone unturned of medical treatments, of natural treatments, of complementary therapies, of
Mm,
avoiding your triggers, of finding community, there are
yeah.
so many things we need to try and do, then we can
Mm.
start moaning properly if
Yeah,
nothing
totally
works.
agree.
But until then, I think
Totally
we've got
agree.
loads of things we can all try and just get out and do them. And
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
resonates with
And
you
if
is
anybody's
different to
got
what
any
resonates with me.
questions, yeah, and if anyone's got any
It's
questions or
best
comments about this,
underneath.
put it underneath, and we
I
can
think
we
so.
can respond. And thank you so much for your time. I hugely
Thank you.
appreciate it. And
We are not going to watch
let's
the
do it again.
news, are we? We're not going to watch the news tonight.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have
Oh
to.
gosh.
Right, see
It
you
was
later,
great
guys. Have a
chatting. Bye
lovely rest
everyone.
of your evening.
Bye
Take care,
everyone.
Dani. See you
Ciao,
later.
ciao.
Bye.